Alrighty, good morning, everyone. It is Friday. It has been a crazy week, especially with the election. So let's try to have a time to where we don't have to think about that. That'd be good, right, for some people. Today we got a great episode. We have Chris and Andrea, Amos, who own Parc de Oaks in the north side of Lafayette off of Moss Street. It's a food truck park. They're doing great things over there. We're going to be talking with them about that. And also, Chris just graduated Leadership Lafayette, so we'll talk to him about that and how that went for him all this past year. So sit back and enjoy the show. Alrighty, so real quick before we get started, I got my presenting sponsor. It is Chase Group Construction. They do take the lead and become your one point of contact for the entire design build process. So if you're looking to build something, they design it and build it. They work with you all through the way. They have a diverse portfolio of projects that range from medical centers, popular restaurants, and multi-unit shopping center developments. In fact, I talked with Chase earlier this week for this and that, but they have about 4 or 5 projects that are about to get going and some really cool stuff that it's about to happen. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, check them out, chasegroupconstruction.com. They are a great local sponsor, and we appreciate them. All righty, so let's get this split screen action happening. All right, so Chris and Andrea, welcome to the T Podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
All right, so let's go ahead and get introductions in order. Go ahead and you guys tell me about yourselves. Whoever wants to go first. I guess if the ladies wants to go first, let's have it at it. So go ahead and tell us about yourself.
So my name is Andrea Amos. I'm originally from Patterson. I moved to Lafayette in 2007 to go to UL, and I graduated in finance in 2011. And so I've been here ever since.
All right. So in 2007, you went to UL?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you graduated in 2011?
Yes.
Nice. All right. From Patterson, huh?
Country.
Yeah. Isn't that the kind of like the speed trap on Highway 90?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The
All
cops
right.
they're watching.
They always are. My mom and dad love to take Highway 90 all the way to New Orleans to see my brother and his wife. And I'm like, I just want to take I-10.
Yeah.
As long as the Basin Bridge is flowing, I'm taking I-10.
Right.
And then Baton Rouge, hopefully nothing crazy is happening there. But I feel like there's too many red lights and too many little speed traps on Highway 90. I'm like,
it changes too much.
and then Momo and Pawpaw, they take Highway 90. My mom and dad, they're the Momo and Pawpaw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, Chris, I mean, tell us about you. Are you from Patterson too?
If only I was so lucky. No.
Don't hate.
I never even heard this. Well, I can't even call it the city, the town of Patterson.
Maybe the village, huh?
It's close. When she left, I think it became a village. But no, I'm from Lafayette, born and raised. North Side guy.
All right.
Always been an entrepreneurial guy. Not as educated as she is, but I'm a Lafayette High graduate, so that's a good school. So I think that's good enough. So yeah.
Yeah, Lafayette High, man. That's like, what, 400, 500 graduates every year?
Oh yeah, we call it the High because it's the esteemed school in the parish.
Gosh, dog. And don't y'all use the Cajun Dome to graduate?
Well, whenever I graduated, but I thought that all the schools did in the parish, but at the time we were so big, we had to do it. And it was fun, too, because I graduated in 2009, and it's right after we graduated, that was the time, I'm not sure they still do it, that had the Cajun Heartland State Fair at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So we would graduate, take off our caps and gowns, and we would go straight to the fair. And then after that, they would have a senior lock-in. I didn't go. I went downtown. But I wish I did. I should have held on to my youth a little bit longer. But yeah, we definitely graduated in the Cajun Dome.
Yeah. You're ready to hit the clubs.
Yeah, I was ready. Yeah, I was ready to see what it was about.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, if we can only go back, crazy stuff. It's funny, like, whenever I first moved here in 2010 and I learned about people graduating in the Cajun Dome, I'm like, good God, like, these schools are really that big? My graduating class was maybe 30, 40 people, if that. Like, it was relatively small. Now, I've seen smaller schools. Indian Bayou, they have like all of like 5 people that graduate at that school.
My mom's from a small town a village, actually. It really is a village. It's called Varnado. They were 12.
Wow.
And we make fun of it slightly, but I envy that because they're still close.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the reason why, like, even like Northside High, they'll have like the homecoming, and they can still be so close because their graduating class is so small. That's why small towns, like even like a Ville Platte, a Generate, St. Martinville, they're like the state school in the area. So like they stay close to Patterson High. That's pretty much just Patterson High. So they'll have 10-year reunions. They're already waiting for the 20-year reunion. I haven't seen half of my class. I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
Because we're so big. So like as soon as we left, it was like, see y'all when we see you. So like we don't even think about having a class reunion like they do.
Yeah, I still keep in touch with everyone in my class basically. So we only had like 120 people that we graduated with. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Bigger than yours, but
yeah, a little bit bigger. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm still pretty close with a few of my graduating classmates. But I mean, you know, as you get older, I mean, you distance yourself and you find new friends, and it is sad to kind of how it works. But I've been friends with one guy since 3rd grade, but after we graduated, it was kind of like, hey, you know, I'm staying in Ville Platte. I graduated high school in Pine Prairie, so Baishiko, Ville Platte area. And, yeah, it was just, you know, kind of like, you know, see you when I see you. But there's a few my classmates that moved to Lafayette, so I see them often, and they're doing big things. It feels weird because, like, the people that moved from that area to Lafayette, I see them because they moved to Lafayette to do more. I feel like now, not to say that the people that didn't move are not doing more, but they stayed there. Let's just say that. So it's just weird, but yeah. Enough about reminiscing about high school stuff. I graduated in 2005, so my 20-year reunion is supposed to be next year, and I'm like, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. It's weird. Yeah. The 10-year, it was just a bunch of girls that went to a crawfish shack. So I guess I got invited, but I was like, just a bunch of girls. Yeah. And I have a wife. It's just kind of weird. So I'm like, even though they're classmates, and the ones that really went, most of them are here anyway in Lafayette. But yeah, so you said you grew up here in Lafayette and then Patterson. So how did you guys end up meeting?
I worked at Two Paul's, and I was going to cash my check. And he was at Whitney Bank at the time. So I cashed my check, and then I looked him up on Facebook because I memorized his name on his name tag. And so I just added him. I was like, let's see what happens. And then like a few months later, we saw each other at City Bar, and then he slid in my DMs.
All right.
When I found me at the time, I was downtown. I was at City Bar, Nightown, Shakers. Yeah. Not that I was at the Keg, so I had my fun. And then I met her, so then I settled down.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick couple of second break. It is, the AC is not running in this building, so I am going to mute the mic. I'll be back on. The screen's not going anywhere, but I'll be back in just a second. I'm going to turn on the AC. All right, we're back. So Shira is in the comments saying, yes, hey, friends.
Hey.
All right, Shira.
What up?
Shira makes fun of me because I can get messy in the comment section.
Uh-oh.
And she tells me to log off now. I'm like, I'm not logging off. I just logged in. Okay, so you were working at Two Paws. That was the barbecue, the radical barbecue place.
So good.
So let me tell you a little beef about, all pun intended, about Two Paws, right? I think they're no longer in business, at least not in Lafayette. I believe that they failed for one I can't say that word. One main reason. We tried to go there on a Sunday, and they were closed.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
We would close at like 2.
Well, we went on a Sunday one day for around lunch, and we got up to the door, and it was closed. I said, why is that barbecue place not open on a Sunday? And maybe their hours had changed right before they closed, because it was just bizarre. Like, some things were happening, and it wasn't that much longer that they went out of business. So I'm like, I don't know. Something happened, I guess.
So.
But I'm like, man, I wanted barbecue. And there was, like, not many places in Lafayette that served barbecue.
At the time, yeah.
So I was like, well.
Well, he had got sick, so maybe that was why.
Maybe so. Yeah. Well, I thought it would fail because of that. I guess it was open. I see,
Yeah, it was whenever I was working there, we had Sundays because I would be hungover sometimes. So yeah,
Okay.
definitely, I remember that.
Yeah, shout out to Miss Marilyn.
Yeah.
She still stays in touch with us because
Nice.
she stays not too far from the park. So
Okay.
we see her sometimes. I've been knowing her for a little bit before Mr. Gary passed away. So
Yeah.
Oh, so one of the owners passed away?
Her
Oh,
husband,
man.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
So it was a local place?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. They both owned it. That's why, because they both had Paul in their name. That's why.
That's why it was Two Paws.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So my bad. I didn't fail because of that. They were just, it was one of those things. Plus, being the only barbecue restaurant, I guess there's a lot of eyeballs on making sure you do barbecue right. I don't know. I've never had it, so I don't know how it was.
Good. I liked it.
Okay.
The brisket was really good. That was my favorite.
Yeah, I was wanting to try it, man, but I never. Whenever I moved here, it wasn't much longer after I moved here that they went away, and then slowly but surely, places like Blanchard show up and all that. So you guys met via not stalking, but
Kinda. I mean,
looking them up.
checking it out. Yeah, checking out
Okay.
his profile.
Okay. So y'all met in downtown, like officially, right? Kinda.
Our first time we really conversed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't
At
that
City
much
Bar?
of a combo, but yeah, it was at City Bar.
Okay.
When City Bar was City Bar,
Was
like,
poppin'.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot more popping then.
Yeah.
So where was y'all's official first date?
LSU game.
LSU game. All right. You guys are big sports fans?
She's a UL alumni, but she's a fan of LSU football, and she had some friends over there. And I love going to Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, let's go.
Yeah. I've been at Tiger Stadium one time, and the whole thing was it doesn't rain in Death Valley, and
And it
that day it rained. The game got canceled, and I never went back. I don't know. I was like, and somebody had paid for our tickets too, so I was like, well, I don't know. I'm kind of scared to pay for tickets now because it apparently rains all the time.
Wow.
What's funny is our brother's an electrical engineer, and he had tickets. I think he was still in school at the time. I'm not sure. And him and his friend, they were supposed to go to the game. This was in 2019.
Yeah.
And I was kind of following them at the time, and I was like, and we only went because it was the same. They played Mississippi State, and that's almost 7 years before that, they played the same team. I was like, oh, let's go. So we go. I wasn't really following them at the time, and then I'm like, man, this quarterback is good. And I'm like, man, he's throwing dimes. I'm like, oh, Joe Burrow. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's good. I did not know. I said, let's keep the tickets. That guy's, the keepsake. Little did I know that we be watching the best college football team who ever played.
Yeah.
So it was like, we was just like, yeah, let's go watch this team. I was like, man, it's Joe Burrow. This dude is good. And he was just throwing to these, Jefferson and all these other, receivers. I'm like, man, this team is pretty good. They might do good this year. And they won the national championship that year. So we still have those tickets. Cause I was like, man.
Oh, nice.
We kept it just because, as a keepsake, but man, we might keep this and show our children that we saw the greatest team, to me, in college that ever played.
Yeah. So that was y'all's first date? Y'all's first
We
game?
went back because they were playing the same people as our first. We went on a
I was
first
about to
date.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So kind of moving along and fast tracking here. So how did you guys end up, I guess, coming with this idea of starting a food truck park in north side of Lafayette?
Well, we got the property in 2019, right after we got married, from his barber. He was trying to sell it, so Chris was like, yeah, let's do it. So we just had the land and no vision yet. We kind of thought about like doing a nursery to go tie in with his landscaping business, but then I was like, I don't really want to water flowers. That's not really what I wanted to do. So
they have automated systems for that.
I keep saying that, but I let her run with this.
I don't know. I mean, when you go to like the nurseries, they're watering them. But so 2020 happened, and then COVID, and so we started seeing more food trucks pop up in like random spots.
Yeah.
And so like we like to travel, and we've been to many food truck parks before in like Austin or Houston, and we don't have anything like it here. So it's like, why not? They don't have like a designated spot to go. So we developed it.
That's awesome. Look, I think where you guys built in the type of area that you guys have with all the the oak trees, obviously that's in the name, Parc de Oaks, it's an amazing spot. So back in 2013-ish, food trucks had just started to come into Lafayette, like pretty big, and that's when Viva La Waffle kind of had its start. And those of you that know that time frame, Viva La Waffle got started as a food truck. Now Viva La Waffle is a standalone place, but
it used to be off of St. Mary.
Yes, yeah, they would roam around a little bit, but they stayed in pretty consistent spot. And I remember trying it. Probably I think it was 2011. It was way back then that they were really popular, and then they ended up closing. But from like 2011 to 2013, like food trucks had a really big pop here, and then ended up fizzling out. But during that time, there was no food truck parks. Like these random food trucks were parked at random spots, and no tables, no bathrooms to speak of. You just had to go to this truck, and during the summer, you'd have to wait 30 to 45 minutes for these people to produce an order, because it's a food truck. It's not, they don't have their stuff set up to where they can fling a burger out like McDonald's can. Mm-hmm. Like these guys are like making it fresh right there, and it would be 30, 45 minutes before you can get your food, and then you got to go right back to work. Mm-hmm. So there was an area on Johnson Street where a lot of the food trucks ended up parking, or like began to park, and it was like an old parking lot that was dilapidated, right across from Arnold Boulevard. On Johnson Street, there's Jason's Deli, there's Piccadilly right there. Right across the street, there was an empty parking lot. Now it's a car wash. Go figure, car washes pop up everywhere. But before the car wash, it was just an empty lot with the food trucks. And I remember, back 2012, 2013, thinking it would be really cool to maybe set up some type of like RV park style setup where there's like stalls with electrical hookups, with sewage hookups, or whatever would be needed, or grease traps, and have all that set up, and then have like a roof like over the spots where the trucks can park, have like tables. And I was thinking of all this, and mine looked very commercial, like it looked like a Sonic for food trucks, okay? And then I was like, well, if that's the thing, then I can maybe like put up a digital pylon sign that anytime a truck would pull up and they would connect to their little system or whatever, maybe a dashboard of some sort, and that digital board would show that truck was there online to visit. So like the board would be dynamic for whatever vehicles or whatever truck was serving that day. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know why I'm thinking about this. I have zero funds and no backing.
It was like $500,000.
Yeah. Like there was no way I was going to be able to achieve that at that particular time in my life. But I was like, it would be if somebody had, or if I could partner with somebody that had the money, build this thing out. I think it would have been amazing. And then about a year later, food trucks just went away. There was no food trucks. Maybe one or two that like would do festivals, but like the thing kind of died. Like we had the food truck roundup that kind of died out, and it's like, oh, what's going on? Well, then comes like you said, around 2020, 2022 kind of area, we start seeing a lot more food trucks starting to come around, and then there was a food truck park that opened up in Maurice. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. So maybe food trucks are starting to become a more legit thing now. And then I think there was talks of one maybe going to Youngsville, and then kind of in all of that action, this post I saw on Facebook of Parc de Oaks shows up, and there's these renderings. I'm like, oh my God, this looks really nice. Like, what is this? And so that's whenever I reached out to you guys and got the scoop on that. And I was a little apprehensive because, like, are they going to really be able to make this happen? Because that looks really nice. I was like, the renderings look good. So let's see where it goes. And you guys pulled it off. Like, how many food trucks do you have right now that are kind of in rotation?
Oh, in rotation? Oh.
First of all, there's over 70 permitted food trucks in Lafayette.
70?
Yes.
God.
So let's start there.
I mean, probably between like 25, I guess, like, because they go different places. They don't always come here, but like, I have a bunch that I can. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm booked 2 weeks in advance because everyone's trying to get in. So, you know, I try to be fair.
Yeah.
First come, first serve type thing, but
okay.
Yeah, it's a bunch.
So Catherine Lemoyne made a comment. She says, thanks for bringing such a jewel to the north side. Wow. So, yeah, that's
it's special, yeah.
That's good words there. I want to go ahead and get in my last sponsor, and then we'll kind of dive a little bit deeper into the food truck park and you guys. So that next sponsor is the Music Academy of Acadiana. They are Acadiana's top choice for music lessons. You've probably heard me mention them many times because they're going to be sponsoring for many months, hopefully many years into the future. So if you're looking to learn music, or if you have a kid that may be interested in music, check them out. It's Music Academy of Acadiana. They teach several different types of instruments, probably all the instruments. I don't know about didgeridoos. They probably have some in stock, but like piano, guitar, drums, violin, saxophone, flutes, all that. They can even teach or help you learn audio production. So if you want to learn the background of things, they teach that. They send students to college, and also they've been on American Idol and The Voice, so that's really cool. It's founded by UL Music School graduate Tim Benson. Basically, they've been recognized many times nationally and locally since 2016, and their goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, and to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers. Their website is musicacademyacadiana.com. All right. So Trina LeCompte says, or LeCompte? Is it LeCompte?
That's
okay.
my mom.
Because I'm thinking LeCompte, like
the
Forest
city,
Hill.
yeah.
I'm like, okay. So, yeah, hey, she says, proud of you both.
That's my mom.
Nice. Good there. Having the mom chime in. Okay. So, you guys have the property since 2019 and didn't really know where you wanted to go with it at that point. You had the landscaping business, and you thought naturally it would be nursery because that would make sense for you guys. But at what point did you go, okay, the food truck thing is where we need to go with it?
What would you think?
Like, you had to have been sitting on, like, the toilet or something, right? And be like, man, got an idea.
I just started looking at the traffic when on Moss Street because when we used to stay, like, not even a mile away at the Heather Road townhouses, and I never noticed it properly until my barber was like, you know, can you maintain it for me? And I maintained it for 2 years, and I used to just maintain it and cut the grass and just think about different ideas. And I'm still confident that the nursery would have worked out because you mentioned Forest Hill. Like, I go to Forest Hill every week with my landscaping company, so I'm like, I was thinking of a wholesale type of idea locally, because they have like different type of, you know, like they have Broussard's nursery right off of Verrat for like wholesalers, for people, landscape contractors, but they don't have a place for plants. That's just for flowers. So I was like, let's bring it here. But anyway, it was mainly about the traffic, and we saw like a heavy influx of the trucks coming in. And then we just started walking the grounds and talking to different architects. Shout out to Chris LeBlanc. And they just helped lay it out, and the trees and the beautiful aspect of it and the nature and how we didn't want to take away from the nature of it. We wanted to keep and preserve the trees. And that was always our goal, was to work around what was there. And so the only thing I thought of was really a nursery, which is tied into nature, or to do a food truck park where people can sit under shaded oak trees. And people, it's hard to explain to people not from the South how much oak trees mean to us. Mm-hmm. But like that's something like you don't even want to, because I trim and prune shrubs too and trees. So like you have to be careful with like limb you trim an oak tree, or they'll come out and be like, oh no, you know. So like just the oak trees really was something that really we wanted to work around. And I don't know, it's just the community aspect of it. We needed something to do and have it to gather. And also we before we even did that, actually we wanted to do a pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
That's kind of actually what might have kicked it off. We went to the Clifton Chenier Center and asked, what do we need to do to have events at the open space? Because like, well, until we know what we want to do, let's do something for the community. So we went and we said, let's do a pumpkin patch. They said, okay, you can have this as long as you follow A, B, and C guidelines. And then Andrea had the idea. It was like, because it wasn't my idea. Andrea was like, let's try a food truck park. I said, we'll see.
We'll see. You guys want a water?
I'm good.
You good? All right. Yeah, so the food truck thing just kind of happened because you saw the traffic and you're just kind of trying to visualize what could happen at that particular property.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we didn't have anything to really base it off on whenever it came to our idea with like having a lot of green space. Because we've been to so many food truck parks, especially in Texas, and it's pretty much, I mean, it's changed now, but at the time it was just really just a parking lot. Mm-hmm. It was just a vacant lot, and they had food trucks. Now, they were top-of-the-line food trucks, especially like in Austin. But it really was just about you just come and get relatively affordable food, with, like, restaurant quality. That's really what it was about. It was getting, like, fast service and kind of just come and go. It wasn't really about enjoying the green space, having events. It wasn't about looking at the flowers. So we really took a risk in that. So it was like, that's why it was like I didn't have that idea initially. That's why we started saying, let's do events and stuff like that. So that was something we had to kind of learn on our own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good angle, though, especially for this area, is to have a space where you can be shaded, for one. That's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And I have not been to Austin, Texas, so I have not seen a food truck park there, but I've watched a few of the Food Network shows where they have food truck competitions, and they would go to food truck parks there, and it's usually just a parking lot, like you said. Mm-hmm. They might have a table or two there, but it's like, the whole deal is, like you said, come on your lunch break, get in line, grab some food, and head out. Mm-hmm. Not really lingering that much there. But you guys, and especially in South Louisiana, I feel like we prioritize kind of that, not to say the hangout or the kind of the lingering aspect of it, but we're a little bit slower pace. We like to enjoy things in a different way, a different slower way, and a lot of people hang out on the back patio, and so it feels like your food truck park is that vibe where you have a table, you have some nice shaded area, and it just feels like a good place to hang out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like a gathering spot for families.
Yeah. So I have in my notes some stuff about oak trees. You're mentioning oak trees here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have a lot of oak tree references to your life, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna go through some of the things here that I have. First of all. Let's see. Okay, your grandfather started a landscaping business, the Amos Landscaping, back in 1967, and the logo was an oak tree, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. See, there's a connection there. And you said, so in your About page, the oak tree is a symbolism that's woven into the lives of your relationship and more. So your first date, according to your About, I think it's according to this, is at New Orleans City Park. One of your first dates.
Yeah.
That was probably our first official date.
Okay.
As a couple.
Like by ourselves, because at the game we were.
Yeah. You were with people. Yeah. So your first official alone date was at New Orleans City Park, under the, how do you say that? I I don't know how you say
It's a
that.
city park in New Orleans. They have the most oak trees.
Oh yeah,
in
oh
the
yeah,
country.
yeah.
That
I've been many times. There's a ton of oak trees. But yeah, so you had your first day under the oak trees, according to what you guys had in your about. Your marriage ceremony was at
Le Pavillon.
Le Pavillon, and with the reveal under an oak tree.
Yeah, we had our reveal to each other under the oak tree.
They have that area where like the little water fountain.
Yeah,
like an
yeah.
oak tree.
So
Yeah.
more oak tree reference there.
And we also poured water into. We brought an oak tree into the ceremony.
Okay.
And so we each poured water into
Because we
it.
bought some property to try and build at the time. So it was like, let's
We'll
kind of
plan
christen the property with a
Yeah.
oak tree. So that's why
Gosh.
we did that. Because
And then
people
we
kind of like
did it.
pour sand and do all
Yeah.
kind of simple
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
right.
So
And
it was
we
like,
did
let's
the-
just, try.
So you watered an oak tree? All right, man,
And then
I'm
we
loving
planted
it.
it on the property and we sold it. So it's over there.
Man, you'll go dig that sucker back up.
She keeps telling like we got like 20 oak trees.
I know,
and I'm
I
like,
want to.
We live in Oakbourne. Like, we have the biggest oak tree in our front yard. We have nowhere to put it. It wasn't a huge oak tree. Like it's kind of hard to explain. People don't know. It's like it might have been a 15-gallon.
Yeah.
It probably was like 4 or 5 feet tall, which is very small for oak tree. So it wasn't huge.
There's a baby.
Okay, so you just mentioned it that you guys have a home in Oak Barn.
Yeah.
Everything is oak.
I know.
Everything is oak.
It's crazy.
Is your kitchen table made out of oak?
No, but my coffee table is.
As your coffee table is? Okay.
Yeah, don't get her started. We got so many stumps in the back. She wants me to
Yeah. Hey, they
Okay.
sell for a couple
No,
$100.
I'm loving all the oak tree stuff because, and now you have a food truck park named after the oaks. It just you guys are really keeping the oak tree thing alive. Like
yeah.
oak trees are not going anywhere with you guys.
It wasn't like it wasn't purposely done. It wasn't like, oh, let's not move to Pineville. No, we got to have an oak. Like, no, it wasn't. No, it just.
It doesn't. You say it's not purposely, but man, it's lining up like everything is oak.
Well,
Oak,
I know.
oak.
When we started thinking about it, it was like, wow.
People start thinking we're weird, but it's like,
I
man, it
know.
wasn't like that at all. Like it just happened like that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I changed the Amos Landscaping logo because I'm like, I don't plant that many oak trees. 'Cause I'm like, but I mean, it was important to him because he actually planted a acorn and actually grew his own oak tree.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's still in his backyard. It's like 60 something years old. It's huge.
No, you said your grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They used to make fun of him because like nobody really thinks like, hey, let's plant this, Nah, he
Look.
babied it and watered it. You have
Yeah,
to put a
I
stake
have an
on
acorn
it. Like,
literally on the table right here.
people don't know how long they
That's
take to
funny.
grow. Like a 20-year oak tree might not even be 15 feet. They take a long time
Yeah.
to get to maturity.
No, it's crazy. I looked. So there's tons of oak trees around this area, and anytime I'm around one that's really big, I'm just in awe of like how long
The
has
planting.
that tree been there? When did it start? Because if you don't mow your grass, you'll see little bitty sprouts of what looks like little trees starting to kind of form up, and then if you keep letting it grow, it'll be a tree at some point. And I'm thinking to myself like, somebody just let this sucker grow. And it kept going, and then here it is. It's this huge freaking tree with a not a root, the trunk of the tree. Like you can't wrap your hand around it. That's a big tree, or your arms around it. And so yeah, it's just crazy. The magnitude of some of these trees that you've seen. So kind of going back to the food truck park, obviously. Want to keep that going. So whenever you guys were coming up with the idea, like, what were some of the main sticking points that you guys wanted to have? Because you have a bathroom building there. Because I feel like that's one big issue that I feel like food truck parks had is you really had no restroom. You just had to pick up and go. Like, what were some of the things that you envisioned whenever you were creating this that you really wanted to make sure to have?
I mean, a couple of things I wanted to do. First of all, we are food truck parks. We had to cater to what the food trucks wanted.
Yeah.
So we started to get input from them because they they're mobile businesses, so they're going to travel. So we asked, like, what they like and what they didn't like, because they heard the news. They inquired, and they would come on the property, so we would kind of converse with them and see, and they would kind of say, like, oh, I like this and like that. They had to make sure they had utilities and stuff like that. So first thing, we had to make sure it was a space that was convenient for them to want to go to. So we had to make sure that it was, they liked the traffic, they liked the area, they liked how wide the lot was, because a lot of trucks don't like to unhook. So we had it where they can actually kind of have, like, go around, and then because some of them, they're not very good at backing in. And so, like, they have it where they can kind of just go around or something like that, easy connection. So we wanted to make sure that the food trucks were happy, because they're the ones that have to come first. Because we have, people that come and gather. That's our clients, too. But our main clients initially is the food trucks. So that was the main thing, is making sure we had a place that they wanted to go to. And that's something that a lot of people don't think about when they just say, hey, they have a spot over here. We should have a food truck. Like, I've heard that about 30 times, saying, what I wanted to do? A food truck park. I had this, like, yeah, I bet you did. And it's like, it's not that easy. This is actually the hardest thing I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah.
So what was hard about creating a food truck? Like, what was the biggest hurdles that you've had?
Because we were the first one in Lafayette, so, like, developing it was hard.
Yeah, we won't get into too many details, but developing it was very difficult in this city. Many
Oh, you mean
hurdles.
the city that's pro-development?
Yeah.
I mean, with as much growth as this city has, you would think that it would be a little easier and a little bit smoother to develop something and to want to grow. But I thought the past few administrations really wanted to make developing in Lafayette easy. God dang. I mean, crazy how that works. I hear a lot of people saying that the permitting part is hard, and, sometimes no hate to fire marshals, but, like, sometimes you got to wait for a fire marshal, and you never know, like, are they coming today? Are they coming tomorrow? So you got to wait for that. There's all these little bitty hurdles that, even a simple business has to jump through to even consider being open. And then you got to get your occupancy license and all of this good stuff.
We took over raw land. Like, everybody has this, like, and I hear this all the time, like, buy land and let's develop it. It's like, it's one thing to renovate a building. It's another thing whenever there's no electrical, there's no water. You have to build retention ponds. You have to get with, like, 6 different engineers. Like, when you label something commercial, you open it up a can of worms that people on the outside looking in don't understand. That's why I don't really get into it, because they're like, man, we only had this on this side of town. I'm like, I mean, you can go to the Clifton Engineer Center and try and do a pre-development plan and see if you come out encouraged. Like, it's not easy. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, because there's so many things that factor in, and you have to be on everybody else's schedule, the timelines, and there's so many different costs that people don't know about before you even break ground. Like, we spent at least $15,000 on site plans just to try and present it to the board to say yes or no to this or that.
So you had to spend $15,000 just to get a yes or no answer.
Yeah, go to school for engineering, kids. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking about job security there. I mean, yes or no, it doesn't matter, but you need the site plan. So what would happen if they would have said no? Like, you spent $15,000 on a site plan. Like, do you go back and revise?
Well, that's what you do. That's why. I mean, I say this now. I think the most underrated people are architects. They're tapped into what I say, like, the left side and the right side of the brain, because, like, you have to go to them and they have to design something, but they also have to be mathematically inclined, and they also have to know all the municipal codes, all the different ordinances. Can't be this close to the driveway. Have to have this kind of grade, this kind of slope. We got to deal with the DOTD, and they have to know that. And so then you have to have somebody like that on your side whenever you do go talk to certain people at the city, and they say you can't have that. Well, we say, well, according to this, you can. They say you can't have that. Well, according to this, I can file an appeal. We wouldn't have made it without them. So you have to be tapped in and not give up. And it's a lot of things that factor in. So you're going to get a lot of that. The thing is, you're going to get a lot of no's. They say that a lot of these boardrooms where dreams go to die, and they know that. So you have to just say, okay, they said I can't have this. What can I do? And so you just have to keep trying to find a loophole, because there is one, legal ones. And it's like you just have to keep, persevering and don't give up on it. Mm-hmm. That's really the main thing, is just don't give up and let them know they know I'm serious. Because a lot of people that go over there, to their credit, aren't serious. So they just go over there with an idea, and it's like, okay. And then you just have all these different people that you have to talk to, and they're like, yeah, you got to have that. And the plumbing department says you got to have this. Then, environment says you got to have this kind of slope, you got to have these many retention ponds. You go to like it's so many things that people kind of leave discouraged. And we're like, we were discouraged.
Yeah. Well, they had nothing to compare it to.
We were the guinea pigs of the city. Because like I said, everybody wants to have a food truck park. It's not like we had this radical genius idea. I mean, I'm not.
No, but you were the one of the few people to really try to pursue it and to make it happen.
Yeah, it was a whole nother thing whenever you go over there and say, no, I have my site plans.
Yeah.
Like, no, I want to do this. And then it's like, oh, this is real. So for both of us, it was like, oh, this is real. It's like, yeah, we really want to do it. They're like, okay, well, we'll get back with you and we'll see what we like and don't like.
Okay, all right. And so what really gets me is the retention pond. Like, you're just literally a field where people can park, and there's a retention pond.
Yeah,
they say anything over 1.2 acres in the city, if it's commercial, you have to have some type of retention pond or some type of detention pond.
Does it ever fill up with water?
No. I mean, we have 2 of them, which is a whole other story.
Two.
Yeah.
Took away some parking spaces.
Yeah, hired good engineers, by the way. So, we have to have 2 mosquito traps, and it took away so much space that we wanted. And they're pretty big.
And for what? Like, it doesn't, I don't feel like it, for y'all's case, I don't feel like it does much.
No.
Because you have so much, like, all the property that you guys have is permeable. Like, the rain hits it, it's going to go into the ground. Like, I understand, like, a commercial development that's a lot of cement. You need a retention pond because the cement diverts water, and that water has to go somewhere. So it'll go into a pond. But you guys have literally soft ground, and what? You have rock? You don't really have cement, right?
We only had to have concrete
the entrance.
for the entrance connected to the
and
existing concrete that we have.
Yeah,
that was
slab already.
That was fire marshal reasons to for like ambulances and fire trucks. They're not supposed to be on any type of like gravel or limestone. So I was like, all right. But we initially wanted to enter off of Moss Street. So we thought that that's what we can do. And then DOTD was like, no, because technically Moss Street is a highway. So we'd have to go through all kind of other guidelines and stuff to enter from there, even though it was already an entrance. So we had to actually take that out and invest in the $25,000 to enter from the side street in the residential neighborhood. So it's a lot. And we had to file an appeal just to have a lot of parking.
Well, they wanted the whole
they wanted us to
parking lot
concrete
to be
everything.
Cement.
So I had to explain to him I'm a landscaper, and I said, and I'm also a licensed arborist. I said, oak trees saved it again. I said, oak trees have shallow root systems. I said, it's going to crack all the foundation.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not going to cut the trees down. So it's like, how far do you want this slab to be poured? Because they wanted like 4 inches, and it's like, it's just going to crack the foundation anyway. And then one thing is going to suffer. So they just said, okay, have this much, that much. And they said you have to have it blocked off with landscaping. And they didn't know what I do at the time, so they thought they had a gotcha moment. And so I just like, okay, I know a guy.
You know a guy. God, man, I hate to hear all of the hurdles, but obviously you guys jumped them, and you're here now with a food truck park. So, like, on any given weekend, how many food trucks do you have parked at your park?
7.
7?
And 8, sometimes 8. If we have an event, I can squeeze 8.
So do you have are there any like consistent trucks that stay there every weekend, or like, what does that look like? Do you have like people that camp out there and just keep their trucks there? What does that look like? What are the rules? What is the thing supposed to be?
Well, they all move around. So I do have a few consistent ones that come each weekend, but I like to alternate them, just to give people a chance. Some people, they'll stay overnight, like one night, but there's no one that stays like monthly or weekly. We haven't gotten there, but there's just too many food trucks.
Yeah. So you have nobody's tires are rotting in your property.
Oh, no, they have to go to their commissary.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. You're right.
It's hard because a lot of them do it part-time, so I don't have too many, as much as I want during the week. I do have, I have some today. Maybe on Tuesdays I'll have 2 of them, but I'm looking for those that do it during the week as well. That way I can have more variety during the week.
So during the week you have just a couple of them hanging out?
Just a couple. Yeah. Maybe on Tuesday I'll have 2. Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes I'll have maybe 1 or 2. It just depends.
Do you keep track of any type of like customer feedback? Like, what does it look like, and how do you know which trucks are working well for that area? Or do you even keep track of that? Or do you just, whatever truck wants to be there? Like, what does that look like?
It's just whatever truck is, first come, first serve. They'll ask me, is anything open during the week? And I'll say yes or no. And then if not, then I'll roll them to the next week. So that way they can still try to squeeze in if their schedule lets them.
And you try to stagger like different types of trucks. So like if it's a coffee truck, you're not going to have another coffee truck there.
It depends. Like wing truck, I have 2 wing trucks sometimes, but they have their own following. So that's at first I was kind of like, I'm not going to put 2 wing trucks. But then they came to me and was like, I got my own following. And I was like, okay, you're kind of right. So I'll do sometimes I'll have like 2 wing trucks or because they have their own following. And then we have our own following as well. So it kind of helps everyone in a way.
So I don't know if you're able to share like rates or anything like that, but like what does a typical food truck expect to pay to be at your food truck park?
It's a daily rate. Just do like $50 depending on if you're a dessert truck or not. So if the dessert is a little bit cheaper than that, so.
Okay.
Yep.
So average $50 for a truck per day?
Spot,
The rates vary. Now, if we have events, it goes up.
It's different, yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on the event.
So for like the pumpkin patch, like what was the rates for that?
It was like 100 a
Okay.
day.
Okay. So you just bump it up, 100%.
It was several weekends, so.
Basically, we double it. What,
Yeah.
It is normally supposed to be.
Yeah.
For events because it gets really crazy.
Yeah.
They make money.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I mean, $100. I mean, you sell, depending on what you sell, you sell a couple of burgers, and you should be able to get pretty close to meeting your lot rent. Yeah,
A family of 4. That's it. Almost.
Yeah. So, are you guys ever gonna open up your own food truck?
No.
No
we have ideas with stuff that we want to do with our building, and selling different stuff, like maybe some juices or like we have ideas, but definitely not food. We are foodies, but we are not chefs.
Okay.
We do not. Last night we were downtown eating pizza, so no. At Jimmy something.
Jim Deggy's?
Yeah, we had bingo night, and I won. But no, we do not want to open up a food truck. That was actually a rumor at one point that I wanted to try and open up a food truck and take. I do not want to open up a food truck. I'm here on development state. I do not want to open up a food truck. I don't cook at all.
No, they put in some work. It's a lot. Yeah,
it's hard work.
And just marketing yourself is hard work too.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing.
You got to break through the slowly becoming saturated food truck market now, because there's a food truck for everything. And then I feel like there's also a period where food trucks graduate to a brick and mortar, but you still got to break through that barrier of like, hey, I'm a food truck, and people are like, oh, another food truck, and you just got to get your marketing and you got to get the word out, and that's a hard part already, and to get people to want to come to you, because I mean, food truck, you should be able to come to us, like come to my work or whatever, but some of them do that, but
I think we're like a stepping stone for whenever they're first starting out, because they don't really have a following. So when they come to us, we have a big following. We have about 16,000 followers on Facebook. So, they gain followers from us. So,
I would consider a food truck park kind of like a marketplace, where a food truck that's starting out that doesn't have a following wants to, like you said, get some eyeballs, go park in a place where there's already a built-in traffic base, and just kind of start getting noticed there. One food truck, I don't even want to call it a food truck, but it's a coffee truck, Bayou Barista. They were there a good bit.
Yeah, they were our friends.
And I actually did their logo.
Oh, really?
All of their graphics and all that. That was me. I did that back in like 2013, 2014.
Oh, cool.
And then they had a dream of opening up a coffee truck, and it fizzled out after all the other food trucks fizzled out, but they kept all the logos and everything I did for them, because they knew that they wanted to do it at some point. And so they ended up finding a spot in their life where they could get back in it. And lo and behold, one day I was on Facebook, and I saw that they shared that they opened up a food truck, a little trailer, and the logo that I designed was on it. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like I totally forgot about it. And then there it is. And it's still, to me, I think the logo still looks relevant. Looking back on it though, there are things I would change about the logo. If you guys are watching, if you need a redesign, I will help, but there's some parts of the logo that look interesting. It's the part where if you stared at their logo at any point, they have the cup. Their logo has a cup and it has like the Italian flag colors, but the steam coming off the cup and the handle of the cup looks like an ear and a nose. I don't think that was intentional.
I never noticed.
Not everybody's going to look at that.
No, I didn't.
You know what? But I look at it. I'm looking at it like, oh my God, I see an ear and I see like a nose, and it's like the nose and the ear are far enough apart to where it looks kind of like an odd face. I'm like, maybe nobody notices it, but I see it and I'm like, man, kind of irks me now because
I
I'm
gotta
like,
go look now.
Yeah, whenever you look, you're gonna see it. You're gonna be like, okay, I do see a nose and an ear, but maybe I don't know what I was thinking. It might have been intentional. I think I was just trying to be creative and draw swirly lines for the steam. But we are at 50 minutes, so we flew through this hour. What are you guys doing now? Like, so you guys have the park, you have your lighting, you have your gravel, you have the new building that has your restrooms in it. Where do you go from here? Like, is there a future beyond where you guys are at the current moment?
Well, we got the building about a month ago, so it's a shell, so we have to,
we're phase 2 we're back in the development stages.
Okay, so the building is not technically
finished.
Usable yet.
Oh, no,
not yet.
That's a whole nother monster of expenses that people don't understand how much things cost. The plumbing is ridiculous. I bet you could never guess how much it costs to plumb that building.
Just to plumb it?
Yeah.
I'm just going to ballpark it, $50,000.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I literally just guessed. I was like, what's an astronomical number? I think that would be running some pipes. 50. Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I did not expect to know that.
Oh, yeah. So whenever we say coming soon, it's coming soon. Just people need to give us some time because things cost. And I'm a contractor, too, so I understand there's scheduling and then inclement weather, and then you have so many other jobs. So it's coming. Hopefully by next spring we'll have everything done. But it's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of inspections. There's like 3 inspections just with electrical. But people don't know that until you get involved.
So that will be completed hopefully soon. But are there any other plans further in the future? What are the big plans? Future talk.
We got Christmas coming up.
we have a Christmas event.
Okay.
And then we have a farmer's market. We're doing that too. We're adding a pavilion to the building.
Okay.
It'll be on a smaller scale, about maybe 5 to 10 vendors, but we'll try to do that a couple times a month just to bring something different.
All right. So you're just going to add like a covered portion to the building and allow people to kind of set up little vendor booths underneath it. Nice.
A little table, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that'll be nice.
But our closest thing for sure is we have our Christmas event next month.
December
So tell us about
7th.
that. What's that look like?
We have December 7th and 8th. We'll have a Santa Claus on one day, and then we'll have the Grinch on the Sunday.
Okay.
We'll have like a Santa workshop. We'll have games, photo props to take
and stuff
pictures.
Like that. A lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to pull up a couple of photos that you guys sent me. Please tell me I can find them. I see the rendering. Okay. We'll go back. Oh, man, the Grinch one. Where's the Grinch one? Ah, darn it, Apple. It placed it further down somewhere.
It's probably in December section from last year.
Oh, way back there. Okay.
If it went by the date.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. Well, I might not be able to find it. Let's see. Photo library. Yeah, it's not. Oh, well, I was going to show you guys the Santa and all that. But they did just have their pumpkin patch set up. So how did that go? So this is a picture of it here. So I wanted to go to the pumpkin patch at your all's place. My wife saw a pumpkin patch in Ville Platte that she wanted to go to. So, and some family members of ours went there. So we went there, but it was good. It was dusty. like the weather was really dry, so it was very dusty. But looking at this picture, it doesn't look dusty.
The parking lot's dusty.
Okay,
but
yeah.
We ended up having a really bad drought.
Yeah.
That month of October, we didn't rain for like a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I know it was dry.
But the event went amazing.
It was a lot of people.
I talked to so many people. It was their first time here. They never knew this existed.
That's good.
So yeah, it was like, compared to last year, we thought last year was crazy, but like this year was like really crazy.
Man.
And
so,
they had like, I mean, it ended at 5, but like people weren't leaving till like 7.
Yeah,
like they just wanted to hang out. Like
they didn't.
so you're not kicking people out?
I did, at one point
it is
I was
a gathering place, as she said, and they do gather.
I mean,
Yeah.
at one point I did have to ask them to leave. I was like, I'm just so tired. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I was like ready to go.
Yeah. So you have your Christmas event. You got Santa Claus and the Grinch. And it's going to be photo ops and all that good stuff. And do you already have food trucks lined up and scheduled for this? What food trucks do you have lined up?
Right now I have Nina Creole, Southern Creole, Bailey's, Sakani. I'm drawing a blank. Milkshake.
Oh, yeah.
The new milkshake.
Dude, those are the ones with the fancy mason jar? Dude, man.
It's so good.
It looks
so worth it.
It's the food truck version of, is it the Yard from like Florida?
Yeah,
whatever?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a really cool,
It's phenomenal.
yeah, their stuff looks really good.
And they're so sweet. They're so sweet people.
They better be sweet with all the sweets that they're making.
They're so nice, yeah.
Oh, man.
But, yeah,
Okay.
there's a bunch. I can't think of everyone right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we'll have that. And then our next event wouldn't be until
Well, we do seasonal things, too.
Easter.
Like, like from like January to February, we like decorate the park for like Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
So we like call it like Parc de Oaks or something like that. And 'cause we kind of actually started that. I mean, whenever Cotton was last year.
Did the burger.
He did the burger, and then Nina Creole, she sells the king cakes.
Gentilly.
And then it kind of sparked everything with everybody. Then Southern Creole, he started doing they had that bread pudding cook-off, and so he started implementing the Mardi Gras bread pudding, and then
Smiley Ice
did a king cake milkshake, and then another truck did like a Mardi Gras type of shrimp.
It was Bayou
combo.
Barista.
Bayou Barista did a coffee, and so then we decorated the park, and it was like something you do either before going to parade, or if it's not what you want to do, you come to the park. We playing, second line music, and So I mean, that's a crowd in itself, and I like that one because we can just lay back. It's just enjoy.
Yeah.
Because that's those events are serious work. People don't know how hard it is to throw it at a successful event.
Yeah.
It's very hard to make it something that people want to come to. It's hard for people to understand that until they do it. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm doing this," and people aren't gonna just show.
Oh no, we thought about doing an event of some sort and sitting down and thinking through everything and all the logistics of it. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, first of all, it's going to be a lot of money. I'm going to need some really big sponsors to pay for this. And I'm like and I have, a salesperson. I'm like, I don't have a crew to do this. So we opted to not do an event. But yeah, like you said, kudos to anybody who does an event because that's a lot of work.
We're thankful for our families.
Families,
they help set up. They
volunteers,
help
sponsors.
do that. Yeah, and we are seeking sponsors for our Christmas event. If anyone out there is interested.
Yeah, we definitely would like some sponsors if you want to help the kids.
There you go.
Support the North Side.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, I love the fact that it's on the North Side. I think that was one of the biggest things that I was excited to see because I live in the Karen Crow area, and passing through. I-49 through the north side, I'm like, man, there's so much potential in this area. It needs someone with a vision and somebody with money to activate certain spaces. And there's so many spaces that can be activated. It's just to do it and for that person to see the risk reward factor work out because everybody's chasing the money and they see the south side as this shiny little pearl. And I'm thinking to myself, like, God, first of all, it's expensive on the south side, like $1 million a square foot in some areas. Yeah. And I'm like, and I feel like everybody's going there. It's becoming saturated. So, like, unless you're a brunch place, which that's already becoming saturated because there's like tons of brunch places come up. Like, you got to be really unique to stand out because there's tons of burgers there. There's tons of brunch places. There's chicken at every corner, I feel like.
Yeah.
Popeyes
There's a reason there's not that many food trucks that park on the south side.
Right.
And like I would never say never, but if they do it, good luck having a food truck park on the south side. I wouldn't recommend it. And not become a competitive standpoint, it won't work. It's too many things. It's hard to explain to people. Like a food truck park in Lafayette is not at all like it is in other cities, other states. It's not that. It doesn't work like that. You have to continuously be a spot that people want to come to, regardless of what truck is there. And that some people don't understand. It's not passive real estate like people think it is. You can't just set up a spot like, okay, food trucks do your thing. It doesn't work like that. Not in Lafayette. And you have to know your crowd. You have to know your market.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that in Lafayette. It's a constant thing to stay relevant. You have to constantly market. You have to constantly do different things, make people want to go there. Because the trucks do travel, but you have to make it where a spot where it's like, okay, I want this guy again and again and again. Because you look at a lot of chains, they have something that works for them outside just their food. Like if you see Superior Grill, like there's something about it. It's like a party spot.
Yeah.
It's a spot you want to get a margarita. That's why they market so well in their cups. The food is kind of like something almost a second thought, but you have to gather there. Chimes has a really good gathering spot too. They revolve around oak trees too.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, but it's not just about the food. Like people talk about these chains and why they pop and why they do so great. There's something to them on like a Friday, because like people talk about the weekend. Lafayette loves a Friday night going out.
Yeah.
What is it about Texas Roadhouse that people want to go there?
2-hour wait, dude.
But what is it?
Yeah.
It's not just the food. It's something about the peanuts on the floor. It's something about it being like a Roadhouse style place. So you have to look at these places and say, okay, they're coming. They're not stopping. Like there's the commercial out of state, developments are coming. Like, so what about them makes them want to go there? You know, like the market dictates what's popping. That's my saying. So you can't argue with what people want, but you have to try and figure out why did they go there. So you take a deep breath and say, how do I make people want this on a local level?
Yeah.
So, and it's hard work to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And people don't realize it. You can't just have a good product if nobody knows about it.
Yeah. Let me tell you, we can go on a long conversation about this topic.
Yeah.
This is like branding. This is marketing. This is, finding your market, finding the people, and then understanding what gets people to come back, and then being okay knowing that these bigger chains, whether they be local or national, come in, they got their stuff figured out. That's why they're successful. And then you got the mom and pops who they're complaining, rightfully, they're losing business, but they're not willing to invest in the marketing side and understanding their demographic and what brings people back. They just, I hear the thing when I was younger, there was some movie that regarded around baseball, and it was about if you build it, they will come. And a lot of people, I still feel like, have that if you build it, they'll come mindset. And to some degree, yeah, but just because you build it doesn't mean they're coming.
They come for the grand opening.
Yeah.
And you'll never see them again.
Yeah, they'll come for the grand opening. Look, I've been to several grand openings, and no hate to a grand opening, but it's a photo op. They get there, they big scissors, cut the thing, and then they might hang out because you have hors d'oeuvres and all that good stuff. But out of that, peace out.
A lot of people think just because they have a big family or they're popular as a person, that's going to sustain their business. Like I tell people all the time, you can't base your successful business by your supporters, Like, I don't care if you have 10 brothers and sisters. I don't care how big your family is. They'll come for you opening day. Oh, I'm so proud of you, this and that. People who know you, they'll come. Or people who like, oh, what's that over there? But how do you get them to come back after the honeymoon phase about maybe 2 months is gone? Because Lafayette, that's true. The Lafayette rush is a real thing.
Yeah.
But how do you stay relevant? How do you stand out in the place that has, I think, more restaurants in the
Per capita than New Orleans,
anywhere?
yes.
So it's like, how do you stand out? Like, because they're like people talk about all the same food, but I mean, Don's does well.
Don's
they're
does
technically
well,
local,
yeah.
But how do they stay there? Because they're third generation too. So how do they stay relevant? Like, how does a old timey place like Judy's Inn stay relevant?
So, so in branding, there's a lot of discussion of like, oh, it's because I have a pretty logo or have this. What it is, you can have a logo that's plain Jane. If people, it's the emotion that people get when they see your company, when they see your logo. It's not, oh, you have a cool logo. It's, what does that logo make you feel? Like, if you look at the Walmart logo, you're like, oh, it's like super bright inside. People are rude, and there's vegetables that are going bad. That might be the emotion you get. when you see the Super One logo, you're like, oh man, it's like the people are good. There's always all the registers are open. The food is fresh. You see a logo and you subconsciously there's an emotion behind it. So like McDonald's, same thing. The red and yellow, people don't realize that red and yellow makes you hungry. Yeah. But that's why you see all these restaurants with that warm kind of color. And so, it's all about what that company and what that brand provides emotionally. So like going to Don's or going to Billy's or Best Stop, when people get that product, there's this, it could be a traditional emotion. My grandma used to get this whenever I was a kid. Like I remember coffee milk when I was little. And I there's nowhere in Lafayette that makes coffee milk. I go to Black Cat on Moss and I say, hey, I want a coffee milk. And the first barista goes, and she turns around and the girl behind her was like, I got you. I was like, all right, Momo made it. And she made it really good. And so, there was an emotion there. So now I like going to Black Cat because they were able to accommodate that. And so like, people that go to Don's, they'll take a picture with it. Hey, I got my breakfast this morning. It's a Coke with the Lincoln Boudin. It's just something about it. And it could be whatever. But yeah, it's an emotional connection to a brand. And if you can nurture that if you can recognize what that is and nurture that and like really build it, like people with chimes, like you said, I mean, there's something about chimes that people feel like is I don't want to say ritzy, but it feels upscale. I mean, it is, but it feels upscale, but it also feels laid back at the same time.
I feel like it's like an upscale walk-on.
Yeah.
It's not really, I mean, I'm not dissing them, but the food isn't like, gourmet style. But I just think it's like a nice place where you want to be business casual, take like your family out. Yeah. That's what I feel Chimes is. It's like a nice gathering spot but it's a nice dining place. It's a place that you want to sit down and eat. And you have to have a nice place. Like the Yard Goat is doing great, but they knew who their target audience is.
Oh, yeah, college.
Yeah, but what's smart about catering to college kids is like, it's like how, what's that dude, Matthew McConaughey's like they grow and they come right back. Like you always have college kids. They're going to always circulate. That's why Kill K was so smart by having it right by campus. Because location is important. Because you can talk about Billy's, Don's, and Best Stop. Are their target audience Louisiana? No, because they're on the interstate. You know what I'm saying?
No, their target audience is not Louisiana. So if you go down the interstate, you've seen the billboards. There's billboards for like 5 to 10 miles, letting you know that you're getting close to a Don's or a Billy's. And the people driving from Texas are like, oh yeah, or wherever. We're in Louisiana. I'm starting to see the Boudin signs, and so obviously you got to figure out which place you want to stop at, and whatever billboards you see the most is probably where you're going to stop, because advertising is that way. And there's like billboard after billboard of Don's, and then there might be like a Karchner's and Don's. It's kind of like the casinos. They have like going to Lake Charles. It's all the casino ads. But yeah, it's like Buc-ee's. That where Buc-ee's is located, those people that live around Buc-ee's ain't going to Buc-ee's because it's right there. And if Lafayette gets one,
I'm not going.
We're going to be so excited about it the first day. Yeah. Like the first 2 to 3 months, Lafayette is going to kill it there. Everybody from Lafayette is going to go get their little beaver nuggets, go get their little barbecue sandwich. After 3 months,
the nostalgia is gone because part of that was like going there.
Yeah, it was the road trip idea of it. That's the emotion. Oh, we're on a road trip. I can't wait to hit Buc-ee's. Yeah. And so for people in Lafayette, they're not going to go to the Buc-ee's here. They're going to wait to go on a road trip somewhere else. Now, Foley, I'm not stopping at the one in Foley because that one's so busy. We made several mistakes stopping there.
Is that in Alabama?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did one time. I was like, never
so
again.
So busy. So I have a negative emotion about that one. But Baytown, I love Baytown.
Yeah, Baytown is the one.
It's consistent. It's the traffic load is consistent, and the gas prices are good. And so we make a stop there, get gas, and it's kind of hard to leave out of there and not spending almost $100. Yeah. But you get what you want. But like if it comes to Lafayette, I'm telling you, people think, oh yeah, I can't wait to have all my stuff here. You're not gonna go after 3 months. You're not gonna go. You're going to forget about it. And then when you take your road trip, you're going to be like, oh, I forgot we had a Buc-ee's. Well, we're heading on Buc-ee's over here. So it's going to be that way. But people don't realize that until after 3 to 6 months. Oh, yeah. Like you mentioned, the honeymoon phase. I tell business owners, every new business owner or every new place that opens, I let them know, like, look, I'm going to write about you. But you're going to have a spot where you're going to need to come back to someone and pay for advertising. I have it. Radio stations have it. You're going to have to figure out where you want to spend your money, but you're going to have to spend something to market yourself, or have to be really good at social media. Hopefully something goes viral on TikTok for you, because you're going to have people move on to the next flavor of the week in Lafayette. That's how Lafayette is. That's how really anywhere is. Like New York City, there's a new restaurant, a new bar every other week, and then you move on to the next one, unless you keep yourself relevant. And so, yeah, it's a challenge. We can go, like I said, we can go a long ways about that. But to kind of come to a close, because we're at an hour and 10 minutes. I didn't think we'd actually go over an hour. But Chris, you recently graduated Leadership Lafayette.
Yeah.
So congrats to that. As a fellow Leadership Lafayette alumni, how does it feel going through the class? Did you learn anything? What was the most, I guess, part that stuck out to you? What did you gain the most out of it?
I gained relationships.
Yeah.
I went into it with a business mindset. I'm trying to network, see who needs some landscaping, see who I can do this and that with. And then we did the first meeting. I don't want to say too much because she might do it next year, or if she gets in. So I don't want to spoil too much. But the initial meeting, it's like a speed dating. And we kind of went around the room, and I was like, this is awkward. I was like, I don't think this is for me. But I can say my favorite experience was the retreat. I'm a very recluse, introverted guy, and to come out of my shell, and I'm not shy. I just don't have a lot to say. Like, I'm not a vocal guy, but to us to kind of have these back and forths and just really see the genius of what like Katrina does, with like kind of, because everybody was chosen for a reason, and it's like to see this guy's with business, but this person is with the medical field, this person is with the educational system. This person is with human resources. This person actually works for the city. And they say, like, okay, let's try to tackle these problems. And Katrina be like, well, this person is right here. This person right there. Let's solve it. And there's not anybody in this room. This person graduated class, this and that. And it's like, man, we could really do this together. So to see, like, connections be made, friendships be made, I learned a lot. But to say that, I was in a room with 36 strangers, and we really came together, and what many say is the best class that ever existed is just something. All right.
I'll let you slide on that one, but we were the best class ever. But anyway, I think the retreat. I'll agree with you. The retreat was a very unique time, and for those that have never been through Leadership Lafayette, you get to spend the night in a place where Wi-Fi doesn't exist. Pretty much, There's no TVs. Except for, I think, whenever we had our retreat, the Super Bowl was on. So Katrina actually had the screen that was in the room. She lowered the screen and projected the Super Bowl onto the screen for our little party that night. And alcohol was there. Some people did get loaded. but that's only one time. Only one time. But yeah, so it was really neat. We played games that night. I think that was the most memorable part for me, aside from the class day, the first initial class day, and the second one was wild. There's 2 days, but just being able to let loose with the classmates that were there, because you look at some of these people, like, oh man, they're like in suits and they're fancy and they're trying to be all polished, but that night you get to hang out and let loose, and you see them in a different light, and you're like, man, these people are really not all that elite like I thought they were. Yeah,
first it was like, because we had to go, it was like 15 job interviews. It was like, okay, I don't know. It's like, hi, I'm Chris. It's like, oh, bro, I don't know. This is cut out for me. But we went on that retreat, like, man, it was just, it was one of the best things I've done this year. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie.
Was it the spot in Slidell, like, or near Slidell, where it's like
It's like a church.
Yeah.
So I
like a Methodist retreat area, yeah.
It was very secluded. We was definitely, I don't even think my phone worked either. Yeah. The food was good.
Did they have, I can't remember, did they have locks on the door? I don't think they had locks on the door.
There wasn't a lock-in. I can say that. They didn't have locks on our doors.
Yeah, that was the weirdest part for me. There was no locks on the door.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant something like a church lock-in. No, there was no locks on the door in our rooms, no.
That was weird to me, because I had my laptop and everything, and I'm like, oh my God. But I'm like, we're secluded. Yeah. We should be fine. We were fine. And then lunch was served. That's one thing else too, is like, you pay for your tuition and all that, and you have tuition assistance and give or take, and I raised money and I had sponsors help me. But, they fed you and they had all this good stuff and snacks. And then, look, obviously this sounds like I was only in it for the food and the drinks. But so I will say this, one of my favorite parts was, and I don't know if you had this particular experience because everybody's experience is different. And we had a part where it was almost like a YouTube video of like Jubilee or something. If you've ever seen these crowds get into one room and they have to agree or disagree, and there's like somewhat agree, somewhat disagree, or extremely, they have the polar or you're neutral. Mm-hmm. And we were all in a room with all 30 some odd people, and a question would be posed to us, and we'd have to meander around the room and find if we agreed with that question or not. And one of the questions that I remember distinctively, and we hung out on this question, we debated this question for so long that a lot of us started to sit down on the floor because we were deep in the conversation. And I don't know if this question was posed to you, but this one was, is Lafayette a welcoming city or parish?
That's the question that actually I opened up to the most.
Really?
Yeah. Because I went in to somewhat disagree. And it was just me and another guy named James Proctor.
And then you had the majority at agree?
For the most part, because they didn't understand my angle. Because I wasn't vocal yet. It was, mind you, it was our second time meeting. So they some people never even heard of Parc de Oaks, which is, I wasn't offended. I mean, it wasn't, if you don't know it, you don't know. But like, they didn't understand my story. And so whenever I said somewhat disagree. I wasn't completely. And then that's when I finally opened up. And that's when I was saying stuff and people kind of nodding their head. And then I said, no. I said, I want y'all to hear me. And then I broke it down because I didn't want them to see like I'm just trying to be emotional. I'm like, no, I can really break it down how this has been overwhelmingly hard and like almost kind of skeptical as to why it's been like this. So like, and then I said, I'm not giving up. I said, I'm here for my city. I'm here for my north side of town. And that's when people just started like, because at the end we write cards. I got like 7 cards saying thank you for what you're doing. And everybody kind of was like really coming up to me like, man, I didn't know. And they didn't. Because if you don't, I didn't know. You was how hard it was. So whenever they say welcome in Lafayette, I came in from a different angle. Some people came from it like I'm from out of the city. I'm from out of state. Everybody's cliquish. I'm from New Orleans. I can't really, so they had some people, it was different. But from my angle, it was like, no, at the time, that's how I felt. And that's when we were really still deep in like development as well. We were open, but we were still going through things.
Yeah.
So that was the time whenever I really opened up. Other than that, it was kind of, I had points to make. And then that's whenever we sat on that question about 30 minutes. Yeah, kind of, because I was somewhat agreeable. People was like, absolutely. But we had to really see what I was trying to say.
Yeah. And so what I loved about all of that moment, that whole session, is that if at any point during the back and forth conversations, if you felt like you needed to shift your position, you could. So at one point, I think I was at, for that particular question, I think I was at agree, and then I felt the need to move to somewhat agree, or like I lessened my full agree, because I was starting to hear out other people's perspectives, and I'm like, I see that. And because there was one thing that was said, and I think I know who said this, but I won't call him out. It was that Lafayette is a welcoming place, but in a fake way. It's a fake nice. It's a surface level nice where they're nice to you. They greet you to anybody. You can be gay, straight, black, white, Indian, whatever. They'll be super cordial, super nice and friendly, shake your hand, hug you. But on the back patio, they're going to talk.
Yeah.
And if they don't like you, they're going to express it. But when they see you again, it's back to being nice. And that's just humans in general. But in the South, we are all about the fake nice. Yeah. Bless your heart type stuff. Okay, there's a little bit of, dig in there. But, and so when I heard that, I'm like, and it was explained, I'm like, that's so true. I don't think about that because whenever I meet people, I'm pretty surface level. So everybody's genuinely welcoming initially. But when you really dial in and you see where people are day to day, especially with what I do, I see the pockets of Lafayette that stay to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So like downtown has its clique, the South Side has its clique, Youngsville has its own clique, the golf cart community over there. Okay, North Side people, they have their own because you're a product of your area. So downtown, like I said, you're in your area. So to break into that group is a little bit more challenging. You're greeted, but you're not let in at that moment until you break down a wall. But yeah, there was some deep dives, man. So I love that you went through that. There was a lot of other things, but at the end of that retreat, everybody left there feeling. It was also strenuous, but everybody left there feeling like really connected and like had a lot to gain. And then I think, like you said, relationships was the biggest thing that I gained from that.
Oh yeah. And I still made money. I mean, I'm actually doing 3 landscaping jobs with the people in my class. So
yeah, so you actually networked and got something out of it.
And they supported the park.
Yeah,
a lot of them came for either donated books because we have a book library, or they came out for the pumpkin patch, or they just came to hang out. That's my folks. Leadership Lafayette is something I would think a lot of people who really want to make a difference in Lafayette should do.
Yeah. Before I signed up for it, I thought it was just for the elite. I'd see people with their photos and they're in suits, and I'm like, oh, these are for, the top people in Lafayette, and I'm like, that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to say before I know we eventually have to wrap up is because we used to talk about this. People say like Lafayette is boring, or there's not a lot to do. We were just at my graduation, and we have something to do next week, and I'm in the Wine, Women, and Shoes and stuff. Like, when you're involved, it's a blast, Like, when you're involved in what's going on in your city and trying to make a difference, and you're involved with people who also have the same mindset, there's so much to do. My schedule is slammed. At first, it was like, man, where are we going to go? Let's go out of town again. Let's do that. But when you're actually really trying to make a difference, you join leadership, you join 705, you join One Acadiana, you join Big Brother, Big Sisters, you do the wine and shoot event, you join 100 Black Men.
We had the top 20 under 40.
You join the junior league. You realize there's so much to do, and there's so many people that really think like you, and there's so much development going on that you weren't a part of, and you end up making lifelong friends, and you make a difference, and you end up hanging out in social events. There's so much social events sometimes we don't like to cook, and we don't even need to cook because there's always something to do. So people who like to say that Lafayette doesn't have this, develop that, get involved, and you'll see either one, it's on their way, or 2, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
And make a difference and get involved and see that it's not as easy as you think. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want people to know. Like, if you think Lafayette needs to be this and that, see that it is being developed. Get involved.
Yeah. And I think on the surface level, people say Lafayette's boring because they're already tired of Sky Zone. They're already tired of Top Golf. They see that and they're like, oh, yeah, we don't have the same stuff as Houston has or whatever. But Lafayette's not a boring place. Like you said, there's a lot of places to get involved, and if you really want to see a difference made in your community, there's a lot. That's a lot you can do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. So we're at almost an hour and 30 minutes here. I think it was a good conversation. I did not expect it to go that long, but it did, and I think it was good. I'm about to head out actually to go meet my leadership crew at the Yard Goat.
Shout out to the Yard Goat. That's a nice place.
It is a nice place. The biggest outdoor patio in Lafayette, I think.
Oh yeah, that's a nice spot, and it's so diverse with age group.
Yeah,
that's the craziest thing. You be 21 with a 65-year-old mama right next to. I've never seen a place like that. They need to get on this podcast. I don't know how they do it.
I'm gonna get them on. Yeah,
because we have an average age range, and we cater to a lot of the women in our demographics, like 35 to 45, and those are the kids. But kids. I've never seen it because we went over there one time after like a debrief. College kids, people balding. I've never seen a spot where everybody's just gathering it. Different races. It's incredible. They got a great spot.
Mm-hmm. Alcohol. Alcohol will bring in everybody.
And they play like music that kind of caters to everybody.
Oh, that's
good.
Like
a kind of a background.
Yeah.
So it's a nice place.
And it's a vibey place, man. You got all the wood beams, the trellis they call them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And oak trees.
Yeah. I mean, they did a really good job with that building.
Key to success, oak trees.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Look, man, I'm gonna let you guys go. I want to get on the road because I have about 25 minutes to get there, which is not too far away. But I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
it was fun.
I'm glad it was fun because I was a little nervous at first. I'm like, you're softer spoken, and I'm like, okay, let's see if I can. Where it can go with this. And you were timid at first. I can tell you didn't want to say a whole lot, but you opened up a little bit. So I appreciate that. Well, look, guys, I wish you great success, and I will definitely be making an effort to come out to the Christmas event. I wanted to come out to the pumpkin patch, but, the wife said, hey, we're going to this one. So I was like, okay. But I brought it up many times. I was like, I want to check this out. But so maybe next year we'll do the pumpkin patch over there. But yeah, I look forward to seeing where you guys go, and I look forward to seeing the completion and the grand vision of it. Oh, yeah. And I appreciate you, Chris, for helping me out on some development information. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Some good insight there. But with that, you guys have a great weekend, and much success to you, and I look forward to seeing where it goes.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
All right, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I know it was a little bit longer than normal because typically politicians are what keep me an hour and a half to 2 hours. These are no politicians, and I don't think you guys will ever be politicians.
We are not affiliated with any political group.
There you go. Except for food and fun. There you go. With that, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next one.